Hi, good evening. My name is Galen Alcaraz, and I am the Executive Director for the Chicago Abortion Fund. The Chicago Abortion Fund provides direct financial assistance to women seeking abortion procedures in their second trimester. The second trimester starts at 13 weeks. What we do is we help women pay for it. So, one has called us for support. She's already made her appointment. We do not do any options counseling. We are a fund, so we only help pay. So by the time she's called us, she's made her decision and she needs help financially. The other piece of work that we do at the Chicago Abortion Fund is a lot of advocacy projects, and we do those through our project arm of the My Voice, My Choice Leadership Group. Those were former grantees that have come back to the table to make their voices heard on issues in the pro-choice movement. And this is a way for their voices to be amplified while we do this work. And the voices of young marginalized women are not often heard around abortion and reproductive justice. So that is our advocacy component. We get a lot of questions about why do we fund semester and how do we really feel about that. And the founders 27 years ago decided to focus on second trimesters because first trimester procedures were getting funding around the city. And they noticed that the women that were calling were women that were poor, were on public assistance, and that were transitioning into trimester by the time they raised any funds. So they wanted to focus on second trimester, and that was the mission 27 years ago from the founders. And that brings us up to a very important point of making the case for second trimester abortion procedures and funding for those. Like 90% of the women that we serve are on some type of governmental assistance. So that could be public assistance, it could be SSI, disability. And by the time that they have raised some money for their procedure, they have already transitioned over. So if a woman is getting $400 a month, and by the time she finds out she's pregnant and her procedure may cost $700, she's got to figure out how to pay for that. So that is, one of the reasons why we support that, and we have about that. A lot of people have asked me, how do I feel about second trimester procedures? And it's really not a matter about how I feel. It is a matter about what is best for the woman and her family. And so I have no judgment over that. She's made a decision. She's made a very tough decision, and she needs help. And so that's what we're there to do, is to provide support and assistance for women that are seeking that. Part of the My Voice, My Choice Leadership Group, our advocacy component, is a lot of education. And so we do believe in that. We believe in doing community outreach. We believe in doing community education, a lot of peer-to-peer education. So we'll go out into the communities. We'll target communities based on where we're getting our most calls, and we will go out and do a forum. And so we'll bring a top table. We'll pick a neighborhood. We'll, organize people to come to that, and then we'll do some education around that, as well as passing out condoms and dental dams and lubricant and things like that. We do a lot of community outreach as well, and that's a little bit different, where we go out into communities and we just pass out information. And so right now we're passing out a lot of information on a lot of legislation across Illinois. We also pass out information on the elected officials and their contact information for that area, along with condoms, along with information on what reproductive justice is, and along with what Chicago Abortion Fund is. So that is the community outreach piece. But we do so much more. We also go to conferences, we sit on panels, we talk about reproductive justice as a social movement. We do a lot of work around that. And so we think that it's also important to not only provide the direct service, but to make sure that we are educating the community about sexual and reproductive health. If you have any questions, please give us a call. I'm going to flash the overhead so that you can look at our contact information. And that's the Chicago Abortion Fund at 3 West North Avenue, Suite 267, Chicago, Illinois, 60610. That's 312-663-0338. And you can reach us at the website as well, www.chicagooabortionfund.com. Remember, if you need assistance, please feel free to call that number or email or check our website. I think we have a caller. Go ahead, caller.
Hey, thanks for taking my call. I just want to ask about does somebody need their parental permission to come to Chicago Abortion Fund? Like, what is it as easy as just calling the phone number?
Thank you for that that question, caller. So in Illinois, the parental notification law is enjoined, which means that the books, but it's not being enforced. And so a teenager can call the fund. She can go and have an abortion procedure without parental notification. And by the time someone calls us, all they need is financial assistance. So we're not trying to talk a teenager out of her decision. If she's decided that she wants to have a procedure and she needs money, we will help her. So that is, that's the law here is that a teenager can have a procedure without parental notification. That's not true in every state. And so you have to make sure that you know what states that you're looking at so that you can look that up, because in some states, like for example, Missouri, anyone that helps the teenager from a fund, from somebody that's driving them across the line to another state, to somebody in the car, those people can be prosecuted. So, you have to make sure that you know what state that you're in and look up those laws for that. In Illinois, we also get this question. In Illinois, you can have a legal medical procedure, an abortion, up to 23 and a half weeks. And that's not true for, all states. But here in Illinois, it's up to 23 and a half weeks. In some states, it's 20 weeks. It just all depends on what state that you're in. So you have to be really, really careful when you're looking at information and resources and you need support, because every state is different. We help women in the Midwest. And so, yes, we focus on Chicago and particularly a lot of downstate counties because they don't have providers in the downstate counties. But if a woman or a teenage girl may be coming from, coming into Chicago on her own or something, to have her, we take calls from anywhere in the Midwest. So that could be Ohio, Michigan, Wisconsin, Indiana. But we do a lot of screening over the phone for the demographics as well. So I hope that answered your question, caller. And I'm going to go ahead and flash the overhead one more time for people that are looking for assistance or just want to look up our website. On our website, you'll find our past shows loaded. You'll find our blog from the women in our leadership group, the My Voice, My Choice. You'll find a lot of information. So here's our overhead one more time information right there. And that's www.chicagooabortionfund.com. I think I have a caller. Go ahead, caller.
Hello?
Yes.
Yes, hi. I was just calling because I really want to applaud you for the work you do, and I really feel like it's important to the community.
Thank you. Thank you, caller. We appreciate that. And that's particularly important for us to hear when there's so many attacks going on across the country on people that are doing this work. Like I've said, and I'll say again and again, this is a legal medical procedure. We're not doing anything illegal, and we're constantly attacked. There's an onslaught of anti-choice legislation and trends going on across the country on a daily basis. Here in Illinois, we have several bills pending, two that, are very anti-choice. One is a very pro-choice bill. The pro-choice bill is the Comprehensive Sex Education Bill. And what that is, it's not a mandate, but it provides education for students 6th grade through high school, and it's medically accurate, age appropriate education. And parents can opt their children out of that. It does stress abstinence as the first and primary form of, birth control, but it also stresses other things based on the age group of the students. So that's the pro-choice bill that we're trying to pass. And if you are here in Illinois, please make sure that you contact your state rep to ask them to support the comprehensive sex education bill. The couple of anti-choice bills that are on the books that, we would love for you to contact reps and tell them to vote against it. One is the ultrasound bill, and I know that you've probably heard plenty about that because those are going on across the country. And basically it would force women here in Illinois to have unnecessary ultrasounds before that they could have their procedure. And so we would like people to vote against that. The other one is I call the mini center bill. And basically what that means is they would have medical abortion providers have to redesign their facilities to make them like little hospitals. And so maybe, for example, they would have to install more outlets or make the closet bigger or things like that. Now, the problem with that is that the majority of providers here in Illinois are small, and that would require them to, increase their budget to do that. I think we have a caller. Go ahead, caller.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Fine. Can you give me more information about your leadership group?
Yes, I will. Thank you for that question. The leadership group is called My Voice, My Choice, and we do a lot of advocacy, like I said earlier. It is comprised of women that are former grantees that have called our line, and we've brought them back to the table to turn them into change agents and activists in their communities. So they go out into their communities and they do peer-to-peer education, community outreach, community forums. They also travel around the country. So they're known both locally and nationally in the pro-choice movement as some very powerful voices, making their voices heard and amplified around this work. You have a blog. They have Twitter. You can follow them on Twitter. You can, Google Chicago Abortion Fund. We've been doing a lot of media presence, particularly last year around the anti-choice billboard campaigns that was around Chicago. And so they've just been doing a lot of work. And, those are women that called our lines for funding, and they're out there making their voices heard.